Digital Chokehold, version 66, the Extraordinary Evidence Edition, how a retired Navy cyber operator used government-trained tradecraft to destroy a civilian's life, and how he almost got away with it. Damian L. Hines, Denver, Colorado, July 2026. Hines v. Martinez et al., U.S. District Court, District of Colorado, case number 1:26, capital CV, capital 01579, capital LTB, capital RTG, Honorable Louis T. Babcock, District Judge, presiding, Magistrate Judge Richard T. Gurley, pretrial. Everything is false until it's true. Damian L. Hines, the receipts are real, the record is complete, the truth is on your side. A note on extraordinary evidence. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Carl Sagan. My claims are extraordinary. I know that. You know that. The court knows that. But the evidence is also extraordinary. It's just being suppressed. The 9 Tubble Ojale calls that don't appear on carrier records but produced police responses. The mortgage payments that disappeared into unapplied funds. The Tesla that drove itself into a tree line. The daughter targeted through a private Roblox server. The mother's Bible moved to her underwear drawer. The police officers who arrived pre-briefed said no evidence and left. This is extraordinary evidence. It ties together in an extraordinary way, and it all points to one man, Stephen David Martinez. If you can't see the design, it's because he's blocking you from seeing it. The entire operation is engineered to look like a series of unrelated misfortunes, a man falling apart, a psychosis. That is the architecture. That is the point. The private attack is concealed by the public narrative. Everything is done covertly. Everything is done by the book. Everything is done to conform to what the public expects to see. A note on the no quarter decal. Before you read this book, I need you to understand something I saw on his car. Stephen Martinez drove a vehicle with a reverse black and white American flag decal. Black stars on a white field, stripes reversed. This is not a standard flag. This is a specific Navy symbol. It means no quarters given. In military terminology, no quarter means refusing to spare enemy combatants even if they surrender or are incapable of fighting. It means total war, no mercy, no prisoners, no survivors. The prohibition against declaring no quarter is one of the oldest and most settled rules of war, codified in the Hague Conventions, 1907, the Geneva Conventions, 1977, and the Rome Statute, 1998. It is classified as a war crime. He was signaling his intent before I knew what I was looking at. The decal was not decoration. It was a statement of doctrine. Attack completely, attack as hard as possible, attack on as many fronts as possible. No mercy, no survivors, no quarter given. That is the tone of everything I'm going through. A note on the goodness of man. There's a reason people can't believe this is happening. It's the goodness and kindness of man that can't believe someone like Stephen Martinez could do what he's doing. It's the goodness and kindness of man that believes the mainstream narrative, that police officers are good, courts are good, standard institutions are good, and no one would do something this evil. It's to a fault, because that is exactly Stephen Martinez's plan, to play on the goodness of man and do things privately to attack public citizens freely. He's done this not just to me, but to my daughter, my business, my mother, my friends, and anybody who steps in his way. This is the most accurate description of going rogue in the history of going rogue. He's taken liberties, which is a Navy term for doing something outside of what you're allowed to do. He's taken liberties to capture my devices. He's stolen my identity and done what he wanted with it. And here we are. A note on what I expect from the court. I expect the court to help me prove it, because if you cannot see the design, he is blocking me from proving it, and the block is falling apart, soon to come collapsing down on even the court if they can't see it. I don't actually think it would be a large investigation. It would be a very small, short, sweet investigation that would prove any angle. One investigation through cyber forensics would prove that my accounts have been compromised by a psychopath. One investigation would show that my attacker is not okay. He's not well. He's doing things causing harm. To stalk someone is a psychotic problem. The entire case requires one investigation. A note on what happens if the courts can't see it. I have posted information about the case, video, online on Twitter. That Twitter account has very low engagement because the Twitter account is posting videos in a closed, sealed enclave that looks legit. If it's not another example of what's going on, I don't know what is. I do expect judges to see through these games. I do expect the judge to see that the potential is there. Based on my thesis, motivation plus intention equals a threat, and the threatening text that I received in the alleged murder attempt should trigger to the judges that evidence needs to be created because it's being subdued. I'm isolated into a trap that has been of 6-year quality and doesn't look like it would stop without intervention. If the courts can't see it, I go to the next court, and if they can't see it, I go to the press and the public. There is some form of Stockholm syndrome where I have it blatantly exposed, the private attack to the public, and somehow I'm protecting him by not spouting out tons of this information into the public eye. That ends now. Part 1, the case prologue. If you knew who I was, the warning as confession. I raise my phone and photograph the man next door. He denies it, flat, practiced, fast. Then he steps forward. If you knew who I was, you wouldn't be taking my picture. He goes back inside. I stand in the daylight holding my phone, watching a 3-minute video shrink to 30 seconds on my screen. The video shortened not because my phone malfunctioned, but because an unauthorized process on the device edited it while it was being captured. I do not understand it yet, but I will. The bullet that vanished from the police record, the 911 calls that went nowhere, the money bleeding from 9 accounts, the car that tried to kill me on Spanish Creek Road. Not random, a program. But here's what I did not understand for 6 years. The program was never about me. It was about him. It has always been about him. This man has 3 identities, and I would come to know all of them. The neighbor, quiet, watchful, living 20 feet away at 2951 North Franklin Street. The black hat, the operator who captured every password I had used since 2008 and built backdoors valid through 2042. The app developer, who built clone applications, twin environments, and service denial architectures that don't block, they root. But those are what he did. They are not who he is. Who he is a man who was humiliated in front of his parents, his brother, his extended family, on a school lawn in Aurora, Colorado in 1992. A man who made an oath while he was still bleeding, still crying, still trying to remember how to breathe. I'll get you back. I'll get you back. You'll see. I promise you. I'll get you back. He joined the Navy. He learned to dream in ones and zeros. He participated in Baltops 2019, an 18-nation NATO cyber warfare exercise. He served aboard the USS Mount Whitney, the floating Pentagon, where technicians learn to see everything at once and control multiple assets from a single command node. He moved 20 feet from my front door, and for 6 years he has been holding me hostage, not because he hates me, but because he needs me to witness who he has become. If you knew who I was, he was right that I did not know. He was wrong that I would never learn. This book is what I learned. Chapter 1, the 2 narratives, the public story versus the private truth. There are 2 narratives in this case. They cannot both be true. The public narrative, what the world was supposed to see. A successful black businessman inexplicably lost everything. He called the police hundreds of times with no evidence. He stopped paying his mortgage, so his house was foreclosed. He drove his Tesla into a ditch without hitting the brakes. He received a speeding ticket ticket for 109 miles per hour, and his speed tracker conveniently deleted itself. His daughter's gaming accounts were banned. He blamed innocent neighbors. He was placed on a psychiatric hold for weed-induced psychosis. He missed a court date and a bench warrant was issued. He is paranoid, unstable, and unreliable. This is the story that was engineered to look like the truth. This is what the police chief sees when he looks at the activity log for my address. This is what the court believed. This is what the world was supposed to see. The private narrative, what actually happened. A Navy cyber warfare technician with 30 years of motive enrolled my devices on June 21st, 2021. Fact 46-50. Every mortgage payment after that was intercepted. Only one was credited, the one I made in person at a bank. Fact 97-98. My Tesla was remotely controlled, the brakes overridden, driven into a tree line on April 5th, 2025. Fact 132-135. The speed tracker was deleted from my Tesla app before the ticket was written. Fact 119. My daughter was targeted through a private Roblox server. Her accounts were banned 4 times. Fact 213-218. The psychiatric hold was engineered. No mental illness was found. The clinician said that was easy. Fact 162. My court date was changed in my own notes through MDM calendar manipulation. Fact 187-188. Every 911 call was intercepted. Approximately 800 calls answered by script, not by dispatch. Fact 64-67. Every attorney contact was intercepted. 40+ firms declined within minutes. The police responded to every call and said, I don't see any evidence. They were pre-briefed. They were doing Martinez's favor. This is the documented truth. This is what actually happened. This is what I have been trying to tell anyone who would listen. The public narrative is the lie. The private narrative is the record. Chapter 2. The smoking gun. 911 calls that don't exist, but police responded anyway. The single most powerful evidentiary contradiction in this case. Police showed up on dates when T-Mobile's carrier logs show no corresponding 911 call reaching the network. In normal operation, a 911 call appears in both CDR, carrier, and kinetic records. The majority of my documented calls appear in kinetic records only. Police arrived, but not in CDR records. One confirmed 911 call appears in both records. That single call proves T-Mobile's network was functional. The other calls were placed. They do not appear in carrier records because they were intercepted before reaching the carrier's logging layer, routed through Martinez's infrastructure, forwarded to DPD with pre-briefing attached. If it ain't that, tell me what it is. If you want to argue this is not interception, explain. 1. How 800+ calls that produce police responses consistently fail to appear in T-Mobile's CDR records. 2. How one call appears in both records while the others are selectively missing. 3. How this pattern persisted for 6 years across multiple devices and networks. 4. How the same pattern appears across my family members' devices. This is not a carrier glitch. This is not a billing error. This is proof of systematic interception. Chapter 3. The chain 1 enrollment, 1 date, 1 command node, no quarter. Here's what 1 enrollment produced, and it was executed with the no quarter doctrine in mind. Attack completely, attack as hard as possible, attack on as many fronts as possible. Because he controlled my devices, he intercepted my mortgage payments. Because he intercepted my mortgage payments, UWM showed delinquency. Because UWM showed delinquency, the foreclosure proceeded. Because the foreclosure proceeded, I lost $400,000 in equity. Because he controlled my devices, he had Fleet API access to my Tesla. Because he had Fleet API access, he overrode my brakes on April 5th, 2025. Because my brakes were overridden, the car went straight into the tree line. Because he controlled my communications, every attorney contact was intercepted. Because every attorney contact was intercepted, I remained pro se. Because the police responded to every 911 call and said no evidence, the official record became one of psychosis, not crime. Because the official record became one of psychosis, the courts dismissed my claims. Because the courts dismissed my claims, the attack continued without interruption. 1 enrollment, 1 date, 1 command node, 1 police cover, 6 years, everything that followed. Chapter 4. A note on the pattern. Police presence, police inaction, police cover. The police were everywhere in this case, not investigating, not helping, just present, responding to 911 calls, taking reports that went nowhere, looking at evidence and saying they didn't see anything. At first, I thought they were incompetent. Then I thought they were overwhelmed. Then I thought they were biased. I was wrong. The police had to be there. The only way to make this attack work was to have officers who would do Martinez a favor. Show up, listen, say, I don't see any evidence. Say, we're not going to investigate. Say, have you considered that you might be experiencing psychosis? Then leave. That is the entire operation from the police side. No active participation, no crime committed. Just a pattern of institutional non-response so consistent and so pervasive that it becomes the official record. When the police chief looks at the activity log for my address, he sees the public narrative. A man who called the police hundreds of times. He does not see the private narrative. He does not hear the recordings. He does not know that Martinez's voice was on the other end of those calls, reading a script. He does not know that the warrant was manufactured through MDM calendar manipulation. He does not know that the psychiatric hold was engineered. No mental illness found, the clinician said. That was easy. He does not know any of this. Because the police, his police, the officers he trusts, have been doing Martinez's favor for years. That is the architecture. They are not the attackers. They are the cover. A note on what follows. The judge in my case originally said this cannot be done. He is right if he is thinking about an ordinary hacker or a disgruntled neighbor. But the public record on NSA tailored access operations, TAO, SS7 exploits, remote vehicle control, and below OS implants shows that these capabilities exist. The reverse engineered tradecraft sections in this book are not fantasies. They are grounded in documented techniques applied to my specific case. This is a shotgun pleading for a shotgun attack. They hit me everywhere, so the documentation had to be everywhere. And they hit with no quarter, total war, no mercy, attack on all fronts. The decal on Martinez's car was not decoration. It was a statement of doctrine. There is a man in the middle of all my responsibilities and endeavors. Things I want versus things I got. He is in the middle of everything. And if you can't see that, if you can't see that a man who had responsibilities lost all of them, and Martinez is in the middle of every single one, then you're not looking at the pattern. Part 2, The Attacker, Chapter 5, The 1992 Origin, The Fight That Started Everything. Gateway High School, Aurora, Colorado, 1992. I was a kid with drumsticks. Music was my world. One slipped out of my bag. A student named Steven Martinez picked it up. Instead of handing it back, he swung it and hit me in the head with it. Fact 2. You dropped your stick, he said. That is not how you give something back. So I hit him back, harder. Fact 3. For the next year, he tracked me around campus, watched, followed, fixated. 1993, right after the Winter Choir concert, he staged a fight, cornering me in the hallway with his much bigger brother. Fact 4. A crowd was waiting on the band room lawn. His parents were there. Someone told me he had punched a brick wall to psych himself up. I laughed inside. Walls don't hit back. He charged charged at me. I spun. 3 spinning kicks, 3 knockdowns. Fact 6. Each one in front of his whole family. His mother screamed from the crowd, "Get that nigger." Fact 7. His father joined in. Their racism fueled my rage. The 4th time he ran up, I knocked him down, pinned him, and did not stop. I hit him until he went limp. Fact 8. A teacher pulled me off. Fact 9. His face was bruised, swollen. He was crying, and even through the tears he was making promises. "I'll get you back. I'll get you back. You'll see. I promise you, I'll get you back." Fact 10. We were both suspended. He didn't return for nearly 3 weeks due to how badly injured he was. Fact 11-12. He was still multicolored: yellow, green, purple, black, blue, violet. Everyone at Gateway could see it. I moved on. I built a life. I played music. I became a father. He joined the Navy. He became an information systems technician, 3rd class petty officer. Fact 13. He served aboard the USS Mount Whitney, the floating Pentagon. Fact 14-15. He participated in Baltops 2019, an 18-nation NATO cyber warfare exercise. He earned CompTIA Network Plus, Security Plus, and PSI-SA Plus certifications. Fact 16. He completed MIT cybersecurity coursework. Fact 17. He never forgot. It became a core memory for him, a project, a life. Chapter 6. How the name surfaced. The name did not come from guesswork. During a CenturyLink call about a malfunctioning internet connection, the name Steven Martinez was supplied as the person next door. Before the full attack pattern emerged, Martinez approached me at Appaloosa Grill and volunteered his identity. Fact 30. I'm Steven Martinez. I'm an information technology specialist. I dream in ones and zeros. He became belligerent and would not disengage. 5 to 6 employees had to physically remove him from the premises. Fact 40. Years later, I confronted him in front of my house. I recorded video capturing his face, his vehicle, and the Navy decal, a reverse black and white American flag with black stars. Fact 20. When asked, "Are you Steven Martinez?" he said, "No." Then he said, "If you knew who I was, you wouldn't be taking my video." The denial of identity was false. This was the same man who had already identified himself by name. His face matched the photographs on his LinkedIn page. His face matched the Navy Public Affairs article. His Maryland license plates and Navy decals tell a story of a man who is more than he claims to be. A person with nothing to hide does not deny his own name to a neighbor who already knows it. This is not innocence. This is a warning. Chapter 7. The TAO question. If it quacks like a duck. Martinez publicly states he was a petty officer 3rd class, IT3. Problem: an E4 cannot serve 20 years in the Navy. High year tenure policy. Reality: Martinez retired after 20 plus years of service. Conclusion: his publicly stated rank is a deception. Likely truth: Martinez held a classified role not exposed online. Capability: tailored access operator, TAO, the only job title in the US that includes the ability to put someone into a secure enclave twin environment, hack a Tesla, and execute multi-domain cyber warfare operations. Martinez's public LinkedIn is his cover. His classified work is his reality. If it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, and acts like a duck, it's a duck. He is a TAO level operator. He told me he dreams in ones and zeros. He bought me a drink, even though I get free drinks, because he wanted to signal that the attack was going to begin. Anomalies started happening months later. That was a 0-day attack. The court's ability to find out exactly who he is way greater than my ability to find out who he is. I don't care who he is at all. This is what I found out, and I'm alerting the courts. Chapter 8. Stated intent and matched outcome. In a phone call, Martinez told me to stop making payments on 2947 North Franklin and let the bank take the house. When asked what he was doing, Martinez said he was going to steal all my things, take my home, and collapse my finances. Then the home was taken and the finances collapsed. 7 cashier's checks totaling $17,088.89 tendered to UWM were rejected or never credited. The foreclosure auction was June 27, 2024. I was evicted on September 25, 2024. Stated intent plus matching outcome equals execution, not coincidence. Part 3. The architecture. Chapter 9. The breach. June 21, 2021. Lifestyle Management Day. Between October 2019 and mid-2021, Martinez attended my performances at Appaloosa Grill. Fact 35-40. Close proximity device exploitation is a documented TAO technique. An operator within Bluetooth or Wi-Fi range can initiate credential harvesting without the target's awareness. On June 21, 2021, my devices were enrolled in an unauthorized mobile device management (MDM) system. Fact 46-50. MAC address 80EA, capital CA, capital 733, capital BE, Raspberry Pi, capital LG V40 thin Q was detected on my network. Fact 51. All accounts were simultaneously compromised: banking, email, telecommunications, cloud storage, application credentials. After this date, I was no longer operating my own devices. I was operating a display while an unauthorized user operated the machine. The disable ownership log entry. My hard drive reformatted itself in real time. In the system telemetry, the words disable ownership appeared in the log. I preserved a screenshot. A device forensic examiner can verify this. It is a direct forensic artifact. The system logged the transfer of control. July 10, 2022. The golden ticket. Martinez executed full administrator access to my Apple keychain, the encrypted vault storing every password, login, and credential accumulated since 2008. Fact 54-55. He created malicious security certificates, valid through 2042. Fact 56. Permanent persistence. Even if I changed every password, even if I got new hardware, he could reestablish access at will. Visual confirmation appeared on my screen, an animated middle finger cursor and a floating cigarette butt. His calling card. Fact 57-58. A trained professional does not sign his work, but Martinez could not resist. He had been patient for 30 years. For one moment, he wanted me to see his face in the machine. That was a mistake. I documented it. Before July 10, 2022, I experienced isolated incidents. After July 10, 2022, every aspect of my life was systematically dismantled. The twin environment. The twin environment was built around the golden ticket, a complete parallel digital infrastructure, intercepting, modifying, and controlling all of my interactions. Fact 61. When I typed wellsfargo.com, I was not connecting to Wells Fargo. I was connecting to a clone. Fact 62-63. When I called 911, the call routed through his VoIP infrastructure. When I submitted mortgage payments online, the form returned a confirmation. The funds went elsewhere. Inside the twin environment, everything looked correct. Outside it, in the real world, nothing reached its intended destination. This bifurcation explains every discrepancy. I experienced the transaction. The institution has no record of it. Both statements are simultaneously true. Reverse engineered tradecraft based on documented NSA, TAO, and offensive cyber tradecraft. Objective: establish permanent, undetectable access to the target's entire digital ecosystem. Method: 1. Proximity attack. The operator positions himself within Bluetooth Wi-Fi range of the target's device during a moment of distraction. A small device captures credentials being typed and transmitted. 2. MDM enrollment. The operator enrolls the target's device in a mobile device management profile. This gives the operator administrator-level access that appears legitimate to the device. The target sees a normal device. The operator sees everything. 3. Golden ticket persistence. The operator captures the target's Apple keychain, the encrypted vault of all passwords. He creates malicious security certificates valid for decades. Even if the target changes every password, the certificates re-grant access. 4. Twin environment. The operator establishes a parallel digital infrastructure. Every website the target visits, every call they make, every payment they submit routes through the operator's infrastructure first. The target believes they are interacting with real institutions. They are interacting with clones. Public documentation. This is NSA Tailored Access Operations (TAO) doctrine, publicly documented in Snowden disclosures and the MITRE ATT and CK framework. The techniques are not novel. They are standard for nation-state level operators. Chapter 10. The Service Denial Architecture. Martinez's signature is not blocking. It is routing. He doesn't block. He services. He answers the calls. He lets the posts publish. He just makes sure the service doesn't work for me. Service what he does. 911. He doesn't block calls. He answers them. Bank fraud lines. He doesn't block calls. He staffs them. Attorney intakes. He doesn't block contacts. He intercepts them. Social media. He doesn't block posts. He shadow bans them. AI platforms. He doesn't block access. He injects guardrails. The pattern. Everything appears normal. Everything appears to work. Nothing works for me. Why this is important. If he blocked things, it would be obvious. If 911 never answered, I would know something was wrong. If attorneys never responded, I would know something was wrong. But he doesn't block. He services. He just makes sure the service doesn't work for me. He is not a vandal. He is an architect. Reverse engineered tradecraft based on documented NSA, TARO, and offensive cyber tradecraft. Objective: create the appearance of normal functioning while systematically denying all meaningful service. Method: 1. Service routing. Every call, email, and web submission routes through the operator's infrastructure first. The operator decides whether to forward it to the real institution or handle it themselves. 2. Scripted responses. For critical services, 911, bank fraud, attorney intake, the operator or their team answers with scripted responses that sound official but deliver nothing. The target believes they are speaking to the institution. They are speaking to the operator. 3. Shadow banning. For social media, the operator modifies the API response so that posts appear published to the target but are not visible to anyone else. The target sees their own posts. The world does not. 4. Guardrail injection. For AI platforms, the operator modifies the response logic to introduce passivity, hedging, and gaslighting. Every time the target tries to state a fact, the AI introduces alleged and reported and claimed. Why it works. The target never receives a definitive blocked signal. Every failure looks like an ordinary malfunction, a miscommunication, or the target's own fault. The operator remains invisible. Part 4. The Destruction. Chapter 11. The Financial Erasure. 2 licensed mortgage servicers. 1 loan. 0 accountability. UWM and Mr. Cooper simultaneously held authority over loan number 665456539. Neither properly applied payments. Neither honored the modification agreement. The result: foreclosure of a borrower who made every payment he was told to make. The 5 smoking guns. 1. Modification never countersigned. I signed an FHA recovery modification agreement on September 5, 2023. UWM's QC checklist confirms all fields passed verification. The lender signature line was blank. Never countersigned by UWM. Direct violation of RESPA Regulation X. 2. Next due date frozen. Despite payments being made from September 2022 through August 2024, the next due date remained frozen at December 1, 2022. Clearest possible evidence that payments were received but not applied. 3. Same day payment reversal. Same day sequence. Payment posted. $2,863.37. Unapplied funds appeared. Both reversed. Result: next due date did not advance. 4. Portal access blocked. After I signed and returned modification documents at the exact moment when monitoring the account was most critical, I received an incorrect user ID or password error. 5. Dual servicer structure. 0 coordination. UWM is lender of record. Mr. Cooper is sub-servicer. Neither told me the other was responsible. Neither resolved confusion. The 7 cashier's checks. 7 cashier's checks totaling $17,088.89, all payable to UWM on loan number 665456539, all rejected or not credited between September 2023 and June 2024. The smoking gun. The most powerful single fact. November 10, 2022. The only mortgage payment that ever credited to my account. Fact 97-98. 1 payment in 24 months. The reason it credited, the only reason, is that I made it in person at the bank. I walked in and handed them the payment directly. No digital channel. Every other payment disappeared into unapplied funds. One channel succeeded. Every other channel failed. The channel that succeeded was the only one that couldn't be intercepted. That's not a billing dispute. That's a proof of concept. The debt trap engineering cycle. When you make a purchase online, there is a window between hitting confirm and when the money actually settles. That window is usually invisible. That window is where the operation lived. The 7 steps. 1. You initiate a legitimate transaction. 2. You receive confirmation. You believe it's complete. 3. The transaction is intercepted. Your records show a completed payment. The institution's records show a gap. Both are accurate. They contradict each other. 4. The goods or services are delivered. False sense of security. 5. The delayed secondary claim arrives. Something shows up claiming your payment never went through. 6. A new debt is created. You now owe money for something you already paid for. 7. The dispute fails. The institution is reading what their system shows. What their system shows is the result of the interception. Damages. Lost home equity $400,000. Unaccounted payments approximately $52,800. Total direct loss $631,763.90 plus. Reverse engineered tradecraft based on documented economic hitman and financial warfare doctrine. Objective: capture the target's primary asset while leaving no trail that looks like fraud. Method: 1. Digital channel interception. All digital payment channels route through the operator's infrastructure. The operator intercepts payments before they reach the servicer. The target receives a confirmation. The servicer receives nothing. 2. Unapplied funds designation. When payments are intercepted, they are marked unapplied funds in the servicer's system, a legitimate designation for payments that cannot be matched to an account. The servicer sees a payment that came from somewhere but cannot be applied. They don't know it was intercepted. 3. Dual servicer confusion. By splitting the loan between 2 servicers, the operator creates a situation where neither servicer has complete records. The target calls one, they say the other is responsible. The target calls the other, together, they say the first is responsible. Both are telling the truth as far as their systems show. 4. In-person payment confirmation. The one payment that credited was made in person. The one channel the operator cannot intercept. This confirms the interception was digital, not a billing error. Public documentation. Economic hitman doctrine. John Perkins, 2004, describes using financial systems as weapons, redirect payments, engineer debt accumulation, capture assets after induced default. Chapter 12. The Tesla. Attempted murder. April 5, 2025. The crash at Spanish Creek Road. The morning of the crash, I was staying near my daughter's home in Crestone. The GPS showed me a shortcut. I took it. On the way back, the car started speeding up, jolting forward. I hit the brakes. The regenerative braking was turned off. The car was gaining speed on a straightaway. Coming up was a sharp turn. The car turned off and turned back on. I slammed on the brakes. They did not engage. I pressed the brake all the way to the floor with no response. I said to myself, I'm gonna go off this cliff. Below was Spanish Creek flowing. I hit a huge rock, flew in the air, and was caught by trees. The fire official stated, straight line, no brake application. Toxicology was negative. All airbags deployed. The vehicle was totaled. $38,990 in documented loss. The technical sequence. 1. GPS manipulation. The navigation was manipulated to guide me to a dead-end shortcut. 2. Acceleration injection. The car began jolting forward and accelerating. Regenerative braking was turned off. 3. Power cycle at speed. The vehicle turned off and then turned back on as the turn approached. 4. Brake disablement. Brake assist, steering assist, and regen deceleration were all degraded. 5. Straight line impact. The car traveled straight into the tree line. Pre-crash anomalies. The control surfaces were already tested. Before the crash, I had already documented and reported. 1. Acceleration injection. The car would take off beyond commanded speed. 2. Regenerative braking suppression. Regenerative braking would stop working. 3. Power cycle. The vehicle powered itself off while I was in the driver's seat. At Spanish Creek, these same 3 control surfaces were used together. The anomalies I reported in 2023 were not random glitches. They were live tests. This was not a crash. This was attempted murder. Reverse engineered tradecraft based on Vault 7 CIA disclosures and documented vehicle cyber exploitation. Objective: cause a fatal accident that appears to be driver error. Method: 1. Telematics access. The operator gains Fleet API access to the vehicle. This allows remote commands: throttle, braking, steering, HVAC, GPS navigation. 2. Conditioning. The operator introduces small anomalies over months: steering offsets, false tire alerts, temperature spikes. The target reports them. The operator dismisses them. The target begins to doubt their own perception. 3. Navigation manipulation. The operator subtly manipulates GPS routes to condition the target to specific locations. Spanish Creek Road was rehearsed multiple times before the crash. 4. Psychological priming. The operator injects targeted ads for car window breaker tools, emergency devices for submerged vehicles. The target sees these ads daily for weeks before the crash. They are being prepared to think about drowning. 5. The crash sequence. On the day of the crash, the operator manipulates GPS to route the target to a known hazard zone. The car is accelerated remotely. Regenerative braking is disabled. A power cycle at speed disables brake assist just before a sharp turn. The car continues straight. Public documentation. Vault 7 CIA disclosures. WikiLeaks 2017 document the agency's ability to remotely infest, control, and exfiltrate data from connected vehicles and to cause accidents that would be nearly undetectable. Richard A. Clark, former U.S. National Security Coordinator, publicly confirmed these capabilities. Chapter 13. The ground team inside the walls. 7 documented unauthorized entries into 2947 North Franklin Street. Fact 136-140. Entry methods: window tilting exploitation, attic access, duplicate keys, garage door RF signal cloning using a Flipper Zero device. On August 10, 2022, I woke to find my beard had been cut while I slept. My daughter's hair was slightly cut. Soto Martinez had been inside the house while we slept. Fact 141. What followed was a systematic demonstration of the ground team's reach. No quarter, no mercy. Location result: locked bedroom, beard was cut. Fact 143. Locked car inside locked garage, beard was cut. Fact 144. Park, hair cuttings appeared on the seat. Fact 145. Different park, same result. Fact 146. Locked office. They opened the door and cut my beard there. Fact 147. 6 different locations, each breached. This is not coincidence. This is total war. November 22, 2023. My daughter's birthday. While we were at Skate City celebrating, they entered the garage using a cloned Flipper Zero signal. Fact 148-150. My first drum set, played since childhood, was destroyed. The kick drum was slammed on the ground, its rim cracked in half. On the audio, Randy Martinez's voice can be heard celebrating after the crack. When I came home, they had staged a baby chair in the garage doorway. My daughter's old chair. My daughter's old chair. The ground team, person role: Stephen Martinez, the architect, the black hat, the app developer. Gearborough Gio Soto Martinez, the ground team operative, the one who cut our hair. Randy Martinez, the father, the USPS employee, the voice on the audio. Velma Soto Martinez's sister, caught on video stealing trash cans. Raymond Ray Rodriguez, the extortion layer, the financier. They were all in it together, and they all had a role. Reverse engineered tradecraft based on documented physical cyber convergence and surveillance doctrine. Objective: demonstrate omnipresence and break the target's perception of safety. No quarter, no safe place. Method: 1. Network assisted physical reconnaissance. The operator uses compromised device location data to determine when the target is present, asleep, or away. The ground team follows the network signal. 2. Physical cyber convergence. A Flipper Zero device clones RF signals, garage door openers, key fobs, access cards. The operator has already captured the target's keys. The ground team enters without forced entry. 3. The calling card. The beard cuttings are not about damage. They are about terror. Each location, locked bedroom, locked car, locked office, is a demonstration that no physical barrier exists. The ground team can reach the target anywhere. 4. Psychological warfare. The drum set destruction on the daughter's birthday. The baby chair staged in the doorway. These are messages. The operator wants the target to know: we know where your daughter sits. We were here. We can come back. Public documentation. Jackal covert pressure techniques. Number 7. Physical asset interference. Number 6. Surveillance signaling. Using physical intrusion to demonstrate omnipresence. Chapter 14. The extortion layer. Ray Rodriguez. The Jackal Ray Rodriguez is the money. He paid for attorneys, bad actors to represent Mr. Cooper in court. He came to my home 10 or more times. He was able to tell me the date of the auction. The Rodriguez timeline. Date incident: May 18, 2023. Let the bank take the house and stop making payments. June 26, 2024. Texted the exact auction date time. Information not publicly available. December 10, 2025. Death threat from 561-527-4102. I called back. Rodriguez read the threat verbatim. The recorded confession. On December 10th, 2025 at 8:35 a.m., I received a text, Fact 22. Hey, how are we going to solve this problem? I have several of my men who will go to your address and all your relatives will pay the consequences. At 8:37 a.m., I called back. Rodriguez answered, Fact 203. He did not deny sending the text. He read the threat back to me, verbatim. This audio is preserved on an offline drive. It is the clearest single piece of attribution evidence in the case. The physical follow-through. Within 72 hours, Fact 204. Day incident, day after threat, my Tesla was keyed. Day after keying, my Tesla hubcap was stolen. Day before crash, the battery was drained to zero, requiring a tow. Day of crash, the Tesla was remotely hijacked and steered toward Spanish Creek. The physical follow-through confirms Rodriguez had direct operational coordination with the ground team. Reverse-engineered tradecraft based on documented jackal extortion and threat escalation doctrine. Objective: apply escalating pressure until the target accepts a resolution that benefits the attacker. No quarter, no escape. Method 1. Information advantage. The operator monitors public trustee filings, servicer communications, and court schedules. The extortion layer has advanced knowledge of key dates, auction, eviction, hearings before the target does. 2. Forced negotiation. The extortion layer presents itself as the only remaining option. Let the bank take the house. I can stop the foreclosure process. The target is told their only choice is to sell to the operator's associate. 3. Escalation chain. If the target refuses, the operator escalates through a predictable sequence: vandalism, theft, infrastructure disruption, catastrophic failure, asset seizure. The Rodriguez to crash chain is this sequence in real time. 4. The pivot. The death threat is not a threat, it is a pivot. The physical attacks, keyed car, stolen hubcap, drained battery, crash, are the demonstration of capability. The call is the offer to stop if the target agrees to terms. Public documentation, jackal covert pressure techniques. Number 1, threat escalation. Number 10, forced negotiation. Escalating pressure until the target accepts a resolution that benefits the attacker, framed as a mutual solution. Part 5, the cover-up. Chapter 15, the institutional capture, police cover, warrant halo, attorney firewall. The police responded to my address approximately 800 times. They took reports, CAD reports, that list only cyber with no officer names, no badge numbers, no follow-up. 800 calls, 0 investigations. DPD CAD records show units 231A and 231D, 7 appearances each, and 231B, 6 appearances, responding together as a coordinated team over 3 years. Fact 173. This clustering is statistically inconsistent with random dispatch. Commander Michael Callow. Callow appeared at 10 or more emergency responses. Fact 166 to 169. He dismissed Tesla remote hijacking as requiring millions of dollars of equipment. He removed a rookie officer who had begun genuinely engaging with my evidence, saying, this interview is done. Fact 168. When I identified Martinez, Callow responded, you mean the short Mexican guy with the bald head? No, he's not involved. Fact 171. DPD report 25-01059997. Highly sensitive. Fact 175-176. On June 20th, 2026, I received a written response. The report has been found, however, it cannot be released. This type of police report has been determined to be highly sensitive in nature. This is documentary evidence that a report naming Martinez exists and has been designated highly sensitive. The warrant halo, case 2025T38, fact 186-190. On April 10th, 2023, I was issued a speeding citation, 109 miles per hour, exactly the license revocation threshold, fact 121 to 123. The speed tracker feature had been removed from my Tesla app that same week. The WebEx court hearing produced an infinite loading loop across multiple devices. 4 bench warrants for 1 ticket, fact 187-188. The warrant halo, fact 189. Police, you have a warrant, statewide extradition. Courts, credibility compromised. FBI, we cannot schedule a meeting. I'll have to arrest you. The warrant is not a punishment, it is a lock. Because of the warrant, I cannot report crimes or request an investigation from police. The attorney firewall. I contacted 40 plus firms. Every contact was through digital channels. Every contact resulted in declination, non-response, or the attorney becoming unreachable after initial engagement. Kilmer Lane LLP. Submission at 5:48 a.m. Kilmer Lane opens at 9 a.m. Declination at 9:50 a.m. 50 minutes after opening. No two partners could review 700 pages in 50 minutes. ACLU of Colorado. 4 written submissions, 3 in-person visits, 7 total attempts. Intake acknowledgement at 2:23 p.m. Full declination at 2:55 p.m. 32 minutes. The ACLU's declination. Our inability to assist you does not reflect on the merits of your case. 40 plus attempts, 0 retained counsel. That is not a market judgment. That is the firewall working. Reverse engineered tradecraft based on JTRIG's 4Ds doctrine and documented institutional capture techniques. Objective: create a closed system where every channel of relief is captured, compromised, or weaponized. No quarter, no help. Method 1. Pre-briefing. The operator cultivates informal relationships with officers who will do nothing right when responding to the target's calls. No bribery required. Just social capital built over a 20-year career. The officers show up, say no evidence, and leave. 2. Manufactured record. The operator intercepts 911 calls and routes them through a scripted response system. The target's calls are logged in the operator's system, not the carrier's. Over time, the CAD record shows a pattern of 800 plus calls, which looks like pathology, not a crime pattern. 3. The lock. The operator uses MDM access to change court dates in the target's own notes, delete calendar entries, and let bench warrants issue. Once a warrant is active, it does work even when the operator does nothing at all. The target cannot report crimes without being arrested. 4. The attorney firewall. All digital communications with attorneys route through the operator's infrastructure. Intake forms are intercepted. Declinations are issued in impossible timeframes. The firewall does not announce itself. It simply ensures the person inside it cannot get out. Public documentation. JTIIG's 4Ds doctrine. Snowden leaks. The Intercept 2014. Deny, disrupt, degrade, destroy. The systematic destruction of a target's credibility through recursive institutional failure. Chapter 16. The walk-in strategy. The phone was compromised. The mail could be intercepted. Email passed through the twin environment. What remained was the body, my physical presence. The walk-in became my primary channel of institutional contact. I walked into the Alfred A. Araj, United States Courthouse and filed the complaint. Not mailed, not emailed. Walked in, placed on the counter, received in person. Paper and presence. The one vector a trained naval cyber operator cannot intercept. The walk-in is not a last resort. It is the strategy. Because the walk-in is the one channel the twin environment cannot compromise. Part 6. The human cost. Chapter 17. OH. The daughter. Plaintiff's minor daughter is identified herein as OH pursuant to Fed RCLP 5.2. Before I tell you what they did to her, I need to tell you who she was. She was born with radiance. Our Saturday mornings were sacred. She would climb into my bed, still in her pajamas, and we would plan the day. She loved music the way I loved music. She had a room in my house on Franklin Street, her drawings on the refrigerator, her backpack by the door. She was 9 years old when the targeting began. The private server, Dayhood. She was captured into a private network called Dayhood, fact 213 to 215. A private server has to be purchased and created, which she did not do. The characters resembled Martinez and Soto Martinez. They took turns doing sexual things to her avatar. She recorded it. Not knowing how to respond, she posted it to TikTok. Her sister saw it, showed her mom, and her mom texted me. What the hell is this? Fact 216. The pattern. They would attack me constantly, and the attacks would slow down a week before my daughter arrived, to plan the narrative engineering, and then execute what they planned to sour my visits. When they cut her hair, fact 219, it was the last time she could come to my house. Each visit, she would say, "Is the hacker gone yet, Dad?" I would say, "Nope, still happening," to the point where she just stopped asking. Father's Day 2026. 3 phones, same result. A recorded voice said the number was not in service. He blocked the call. He blocked the text. He blocked the voicemail, but he forgot FaceTime. I dialed. She answered. She said, "Happy Father's Day." I said, "I love you." That was the whole call. 3 minutes. He forgot one channel. That is the only reason I have anything left. She still loves me because she remembers who I was before. That memory is what they could not delete. Chapter 18. Betty Samuel, the mother, age 82. My mother is 82 years old. Her name is Betty Samuel. Fact 226. She lives alone in a secured residential building in Denver. She is deeply spiritual. She prays over the situation the way she prays over everything. The police visit. 3 unidentified DPD officers arrived at her secured residential building without buzzing through security. Fact 181-227. They entered her home. They spoke about a cyber attack. The CAD report listed only cyber, no officer names, no badge numbers. My mother did not call them. Her building requires a security code to enter. They arrived at her door without being buzzed in. When she asked for their names, they did not provide them. They stayed approximately 5 minutes. The disturbances. After that visit, she found her Bible placed inside her intimate apparel drawer. Fact 228. Her personal notebook had 20 to 30 pages torn out. Her divorce papers were moved. She found handwriting in one of her books that is not her handwriting. No more notes. Her words. She said something I haven't been able to put down. She said, "I'm so sick of my identity being stolen that they've just taken who I am. And then, take it. I don't know how to get it back. Just take it." She got to the place where fighting for it back felt like more than she had left to give. She is 82 years old. She has done nothing in her life except work hard, love her children, and go to church. He chose her anyway, because she is mine. Part 7. The evidence. Chapter 19. Building the record. 47 gigabytes. Screenshots, videos, audio recordings, documents, bank statements, police reports, CAD logs, text messages, emails, photographs. 47 gigabytes of proof. Fact 2576. Every incident has a folder. Every file is named with date and incident type. The evidence was not easy to preserve. Every time I saved something, they tried to delete it. They wanted me to be the only witness to my own destruction. I saved everything. I kept copies offline, on drives never connected to the network. I printed thousands of pages at the library. The master USB drive is 64 gigabytes. Every piece of evidence organized, indexed, preserved. Fact 241 to 250. Chapter 20. The proof and the stakes. What justice looks like. Justice looks like one investigation. Just one. I have an abundance of evidence, so much that I would call it an embarrassment of evidence. The binary questions. Discovery will answer every one. Category question. Expected answer. Mortgage. Do UWM records show 24 mortgage payments between Census 2023 to June 2024? Yes, but only one credited. 911. Do T-Mobile CDRs show 911 calls on dates DPD CAD shows response? No. MDM. Was MAC 80EACA733BE enrolled in MDM on June 21, 2021? Yes. MDM. Was that enrollment authorized? No. Tesla. Does telemetry show remote commands on April 5, 2025? Yes. DPD. Does report 25-01059997 exist? Yes. DPD. Does it name Martinez? Yes. These records exist. They are held by institutions outside Martinez's control. Discovery will answer each question with forensic finality. Because statements. Proof by causal linkage. 1. Because Martinez served as IT-3 on USS Mount Whitney during Baltops 2019. He has documented Navy information warfare training. 2. Because Martinez stated, "I'll get you back" after the 1992 altercation. He had motive. 3. Because the attack began after Martinez moved next door in 2021. He had opportunity. 4. Because the attack uses Navy tradecraft MDM SS7 device persistence. It matches his documented capabilities. 5. Because plaintiff tendered 7 cashier's checks to UWM. UWM's records should show they were received. 6. Because UWM records show only 1 payment credited and 23 marked unapplied funds. Either UWM failed to process payments or they were intercepted. 7. Because the foreclosure auction occurred on June 27, 2024, and Rodriguez texted the exact date on June 26, 2024. Rodriguez had advanced non-public knowledge. 8. Because 40-plus firms declined representation in impossible timeframes. The intake process was compromised. 9. Because DPD report 25-01059997 is designated highly sensitive. Someone with authority sought to restrict access. 10. Because the same DPD units respond repeatedly. There is coordination in police response. The public safety question. This attack did not require government infrastructure. It required one trained operator, residential proximity, and the tools available to any CompTIA Security Plus certified technician. The total cost to execute, approximately 0. The platforms used, commercially available. The doctrine used, published in declassified government documents. The question this case raises is not whether one person could do this. The question is how many people this has already been done to who do not know, who attributed it to bad luck, who lost their homes and their businesses and their families and never understood why. This has probably happened before. It is probably happening right now. The only difference between me and the person person it is happening to right now is that I had the neurology, the hyperfocus, and the resources to document it. They may not. That is why this book matters. A final word on extraordinary evidence. Carl Sagan said, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. My claims are extraordinary. I know that. You know that. The court knows that. But the evidence is also extraordinary. It ties together in an extraordinary way, and it all points to one man. If you can't see the 800 911 calls as a front, not considering that each of those calls would be about Steven Martinez's attack and nothing more, then the evidence would prove that I'm under attack. The things that happened privately versus the documents that were created publicly in every way would indicate some type of compromise. To play devil's advocate, to think that it could be something different of a man who had responsibilities and lost all of them, and you can't see that there's a man in the middle of all my responsibilities and endeavors, things I want versus things I got, then to prove it, we need to be. I don't actually think it would be a large investigation. It would be a very small, short, sweet investigation that would prove any angle. If Steven Martinez is the guy I'm alleging he is, he's done all this in private, and I'm desperately trying to bring it to the public eye, and he's blocked all attempts. One investigation through cyberforensics would prove that my accounts have been compromised by a psychopath. To stalk someone is a psychotic problem, and that in whistleblower fashion, I'm only making them aware of a high-level criminal using government tech to achieve goals. Everything should be on my side with this. Part 8, The Final Word. Chapter 21, A Letter to Steven Martinez. This is all about you. You sucked my entire life into your ego. From the very start, before the fight, when you hit me in the head in the hallway, that's where this begins. Not with me, with you. I'm a regular person. I live by a simple philosophy. Survive, follow the rules, and if someone hits you, hit them back. That's not psychotic. That's just the basic math of being alive. You hit me. I filed that away. I moved on with my life. What I need people to understand is what happened in the year between that hallway hit and the fight on the lawn. You spent a year tracking me, watching me, planning. What kind of person does that? The motivation that drives that behavior is not normal. It is something else, something that doesn't resolve itself, something that feeds on itself. You are that psychology. You have always been that psychology. The fight, I destroyed you on that lawn, and I blacked out doing it. Good people black out when they have to do something that goes against their nature. God took the wheel. Animal instinct took over. Pure survival with no conscious mind running the operation. So here is a light apology. I didn't know I was taking it that far. I blacked out. I was just trying to survive a situation you created. If it felt like I nearly beat you to death, that's still entirely your fault. You started it. You planned it. You brought your brother, and someone in that crowd said something that made me turn up in a way I wouldn't have otherwise. If you want to blame anyone for the severity of what happened that day, start with whoever said what they said. Start with yourself for planning the fight. I was just a person who got hit in the head in a hallway and then showed up when called. Everything after that was yours. The accountability, Steven. You moved 20 feet away. You enrolled my devices. You took my house, my car, my daughter's childhood, my mother's peace, my business, my money, and 6 years of my life. You did it because I beat you on a lawn in 1992 and you could not live with it. I understand that now. What I want you to understand is this. The documentation exists. It is preserved on offline drives. It is in bankers' boxes. It is in a federal court record. It is in this book. Every technique you used has a name. Every name has a public record. Every public record has a citation. You built the most sophisticated personal attack in civilian cyber history, and I wrote it all down. That is the difference between us. You build, I document. You chose the wrong target. The prison. I understand now that you cannot stop because stopping would be an admission of guilt. That is not a choice you are making. That is a prison you built for yourself. And I think somewhere in that blue lit room with the cigarette smoke and the screens, you know that too. That is why you keep going. That is why you will keep going until someone stops you. I hope someone does. Not because I want you to suffer, because I want you to finally be able to stop. Chapter 22, The Final Word. If you knew who I was, you wouldn't be taking my picture. Martinez was right that I didn't know. He was wrong that I would never learn. He spent 30 years building the perfect attack. He planned every move. He recruited every ally. He blocked every exit. He did everything right from his perspective. And he almost got away with it. But he forgot one thing. He forgot that I would notice. He forgot that I would document. He forgot that I would build a record that he could not delete, could not intercept, could not alter. He forgot that paper exists outside the enclave. He forgot that offline drives cannot be hacked. He forgot that I am still here, and that is why he will lose. A final note to the court. I ask that the court not play devil's advocate and go through the motions to find how he did this legally. Strip all ideas of what the law entails and what's against the law. Look deeper beyond his knowledge of the law to know that he's concealing a private attack and conforming to public views to do it, meaning everything is done covertly and everything is done by the book and somewhat legally. They are blind to the crimes that an NSA TAO level operator could commit, and that everything aligns with Martinez's contact with the NSA. The court's ability to find out exactly who he is way greater than my ability to find out who he is. Again, I do not care who he is at all. This is what I found out, and I'm alerting to the courts. If they can't see it, I go to the next court, and if they can't see it, I go to the press and the public. A note on what's coming. The publications, the books that I'm working on, and all the information that I have is soon to hit the pavement. I will not put up with this anymore. The courts need to intervene, and I hope that they can keep as much of this private as possible, because it's soon to go public on all fronts. Every video, every bit of information. I'm not going to keep it to myself for the sake of the case. There's going to be an explosion of information dropped, and I pray that my consciousness reaches a point where I don't care anymore, and that I will hold everyone accountable, including the 2 judges that may potentially dismiss this. If they do, they're going to pay for it. That's not a threat. That's what I intend to do as far as things that have been denied will be proven. Epilogue, the end of the game. I used to make up to $120,000 in 1 year. I built that. Heavy elbow bodywork, DJ check 1, a duplex on North Franklin Street, a Tesla, a life that was mine. Now I'm living on $20 to $30,000 a year and fighting a federal case by myself. One attorney told me to change my name and move to a different country. Throw out every device, start over somewhere he has no infrastructure. But I have a daughter here. I have a case here. I have a life here that I built and that was taken and that I intend to get back. I'm not leaving. I'm not changing my name. I need one judge to sign one order. That's the whole play. That's always been the whole play. I am still here. After all of it. After the office floor and the motorcycles and the cut hair and the frozen computers and the blocked shipments and the missed birthdays and the quiet custody percentage. Still here. Still writing. Still going. The saga continues. Afterward, the frequency continues. Music is frequency. Every note is a vibration at a specific rate. The body responds to frequency, whether the mind is paying attention or not. This is not metaphor. This is physics. This is why certain songs make you cry before you understand why. This is why I played drums as a kid and never stopped, because the rhythm was always there, underneath everything, making sense of the world when nothing else did. What was done to me was an attempt to silence the frequency, to cut the power, to make the music stop. It did not stop. Heavy Elbow is open. The turntables are still there. The record is complete. The case is filed. The book is written. My daughter still loves me. The frequency continues. Why I wrote this book. I wrote this book because the record needed to survive distortion, deletion, and delay. I wrote it for my daughter, so one day she can know I fought for her. I wrote it for my mother, so she knows what happened was not confusion or decline. I wrote it for the people who have been told they are imagining it. I wrote it for the next person this happens to, so they have a roadmap. What I want you to take from this: document everything. Back it up, keep offline copies, cross-reference. Do not stop documenting. Do not stop preserving. Do not stop fighting. He can intercept your calls. He can block your emails. He can delete your files. He can turn off your devices. He can pre-brief the police. He can engineer your psychiatric hold. He can foreclose your home. He can total your car. He can target your daughter. He can isolate your mother. He can do all of it, and he almost did. But he cannot stop what he cannot reach. He cannot reach paper. He cannot reach offline drives. He cannot reach bankers' boxes. He cannot reach a daughter who remembers who her father was. He cannot reach the truth once it is written down and preserved and stamped by a federal court clerk. I am still here. That is the victory. The rest is up to the world. The frequency continues. It always will. DeMayon L. Hines, Denver, Colorado, July 2026. Author's note: I am a licensed massage therapist and a drummer and a DJ and a father. I am not a cybersecurity expert. I am not an attorney. I am not a journalist. What I am is someone who noticed, who kept noticing, who wrote it down. Everything technical in this book has a corresponding public record. SS7 exploitation was demonstrated live on 60 Minutes in 2016. Unauthorized MDM enrollment is documented in multiple CFAA prosecutions. Remote vehicle control was demonstrated at DEFCON 2015. The NSA's quantum insert technique was disclosed via Snowden documents in 2013. J. Triggs 4D's doctrine was published by The Intercept in 2014. None of this was invented. All of it is verifiable. Everything personal in this book happened. The dates are documented. The amounts are documented. The names are documented. The voices are recorded. The bankers' boxes are real. The archive exists on offline drives that have never touched a compromised network. This book is the record. It is complete. It is preserved. The frequency continues. Key reference numbers. Item value case number 1, 26-CV01579-LTB-RTG Court. U.S. District Court. District of Colorado. District Judge Honorable Louis T. Babcock. Magistrate Judge Honorable Richard T. Gurley. Plaintiff phone email 720-335-5349/DamionH@gmail.com. Defendant Martinez 2951 North Franklin Street, Apartment 1, Denver, Colorado 80205. Defendant Soto 3526 North High Street, Denver, Colorado 80205. Rodriguez threat phone 561-527-4102. Mortgage loan number 665-456-539. UWM Mr. Cooper Nationstar. Former property 2947 North Franklin Street, Denver, Colorado 80205. Tesla VIN 5YJ3E1EA1PF403471. MDM enrollment date June 21st, 2021. MDM MAC address 80EACA7033BE Saguache County case 2025T38 DPD highly sensitive report 25-01059997. Evidence archive 47 plus gigabytes. SHA 256 offline damages sought $15 million. The receipts are real. The record is complete. The truth is on your side. Digital chokehold version 66. The Extraordinary Evidence Edition. Copyright 2026. DeMayon L. Hines. Heavy Elbow Bodywork LLC.